According to Industrial Revolution, it changed so much about the way people live that it is almost impossible to know where to begin or end a discussion of its impact. You guys want to know in a more deeper? Get ready. So, today the context I will share to you guys is aspect of Industrial Revolution, Agricultural Revolution, importance of urbanization, what the monarch of Europe do, manifestation of the dilemma, what happened in the end of 19th century, how to get wider world revolution movement, and lastly is what does the 20th century happen. It have a three aspect in terms of understanding the evolution of international relations, which is change European societies, allow for the production of commodities cheaply, and widen the power gap of Europe and the non-Western world. So, for the first is the Industrial Revolution changed European societies in way that reinforce many of the developments associated with nationalism, particularly the erosion of monarchical rule and the rise of mass politics. Next is the production of commodities cheaply, not just a cloth, canned goods and railroad cars full of the assembly lines, but also guns, cannons, ammunition and military uniform. The last one is they widen the power gap of Europe and the non-Western world. The weapons and technology created during the Industrial Revolution. Although very few European countries could be considered genuinely democratic by the end of century, there were also very few genuinely absolute monarch. So that's all. Before the mid-18th, European society were primarily agricultural, but with the spread of industrialism, people began leaving farm and pouring into cities to work in factories. American agriculture boomed in World War I when the United States in essence failed to ally nations as well as its own wartime armed forces. In 1914 into 1918, American wheat production rose to an average of about 870 million bushels and cotton export also increased, although corn production remained relatively stable. So, the next is the importance as a urbanization. The Industrial Revolution also create a new economic and social classes. They made a substantial middle class of manager, entrepreneur and skilled workers, and an ever-increasing and organized urban working class. As this new group increase in size and power, they demand a greater voice in government and politics. What does the monarch of Europe do to prevent and improve their industrial revolution? Here is it. The monarch of Europe were increasingly confronted with a dilemma. For the first, they know how to preserve the existing political order in the face of such dramatic social and economic change. Unfortunately, in the long run, they failed to resolve the dilemma. As the 19th century progressed, the power of monarch gradually eroded as the power of more representative political institutions increased. The force of nationalism, the requirement and the strains of industrial society, and demand for wider political inclusion slowly transformed European societies. Next is one of the clearest manifestations of the dilemma the monarch faced was the exclusion of people from political power while asking them to sacrifice on behalf of the state. The most onerous sacrifice government demand of their citizen, which is a male, was military service. Conscription was practiced in virtually every nation, some demanding up to 6 or 8 years of service. Only Britain among the major powers refrained from the conscription. So, what happened in the end of 19th century? European powers maintained peacetime armies that dwarf even the wartime armies of the century before. Next is American Civil War is the most devastating war. The American Civil War occurred on the other side of the world. And last but not least, the major power Europe has got prepared, which is every major power in Europe lived in a state of nearly permanent war readiness. No one knew when or why war might come or what it would be like when it did. In terms of the wider world, increasing European wealth and military power combined with improvement in naval technology and communication to create a scramble for overseas colonies during the second half of the 19th century. By 19,000, very few areas of Asia or Africa were free of European domination. England's Queen Victoria could accurately claim that the sun never set on her empire. The last is what began a peace in 20th century. The first one is the world has been transformed. The spread of nationalism was reconfiguring the map of Europe, creating new powers while weakening old ones. Next is nationalism and the Industrial Revolution allow government to create war machine capable of unparalleled destruction. And the last one is European political and military power. Military power has spread to even the most remote reach of the world. On the surface, things remain calm, but the calm would not last long.